A quick thought. We need a fast book on Reagan as political game-changer, because he is now about to become, for better or worse, the most influential president since FDR. Can we discuss this over lunch Thursday? Cece always did have his eye on the marketplace. But I couldn't help but think, who would want to buy a book on a president whom we'd voted back into power with such a thundering second mandate? He'd won 49 of the 50 states last night, letting it be known his brand of patriotic sentimentality and making money is everything spiel plays big time in mid-'80s America. I hit the button on my phone that put me in immediate contact with Cheryl, telling her to phone Cece's assistant and suggest lunch this Friday. As you know, I will be leaving early Thursday. Cheryl, being someone I could totally trust, and believe me, in a publishing house, someone who keeps a secret is as rare as a happy alcoholic, already knew why I had to duck out of work at 1 p.m. tomorrow. I was visiting my brother in prison. The fact that he was locked up in a federal facility an hour north of Manhattan was hardly a state secret. His arrest and trial had been major news everywhere. I'd been paying him weekly visits ever since his incarceration a month or so ago. I got a letter a few days before the election, asking if I might be able to get up to the prison this week as I really need to see you and talk something through. He was vague about what topic this something happened to be, alluding to the fact that he'd been thinking through so much. Soul assessing was the curious term he used. His recent letters to me were now peppered with the redemptive language of the newly converted. Maybe I'm being too harsh here. Maybe I'm still getting my head around the idea of my brother the felon. Maybe his newfound conscience, since being sent up the river, smacked of convenience, especially since finding God in the joint strikes me as one of those de rigueur outcomes of felonious American life. Still, he is my brother. And though our worldviews are seismically disparate ones, how can a family produce, when it comes to basic sense and sensibility, such radically different children? My stubborn streak of loyalty has made me stick by him, especially as familial fealty usually comes with a big subtext of guilt. I called the prison and put my name down on the visitors list for Thursday at 4:30 p.m. As before, the official I was speaking to reminded me to bring some form of photo ID, and warned me that I could, at the discretion of the prison, be body searched. And he read me, as before, the list of prescribed items: guns, knives, prescription and illegal drugs, pornography, and that dangerous substance known as chewing gum. When asked by the official if I understood what was not permitted, I told him, "It's my 5th visit, sir. I always play by the rules." "I don't care if it's your 25th visit. We always have to read you this list. Are we clear about that?" "Yes, sir." "See you Thursday, Miss Burns." On the train north, through the suburban somnolence of New Jersey, I continued work on the manuscript I'd just bought from a Harvard med school professor and psychoanalyst on families and guilt. It's a subject which just about everyone sentient can relate to. A book that might just break wide on the bestseller lists, if I can curb Dr. Gordon Gilchrist's tendency to veer into hyper-shrink vocabulary. Transference is something we can relate to, especially when it comes to all the fun stuff bequeathed to us by dear old Mom and Dad. But start hitting the reader over the head with cathexis decathexis, or signorelli parapraxis, or the wonderfully labyrinthine realm of counterphobic attitude, and you have them feeling intellectually cowed and overwhelmed by terminology that can only be understood with an Oxford English dictionary to hand. I've spoken to Gordon about this, and how, if he can scale back his cerebral gymnastics, he has a good shot at being next season's must-read "So You Think You've Got Problems?" tome. But even though my red pen was boxing out big chunks of far too technical text, I felt a sharp stab of objective identification when I happened upon the paragraph that started, "All families are secret societies, realms of intrigue and internal warfare governed by their own rules, regulations, boundaries, frontiers, rules which often make no sense to those outside its borders." Was my brother now musing on the secrets that had so underscored our family?